There is a number that the American car industry does not want you to think about. It is not the sticker price. It is not the interest rate on your loan. It is not the insurance premium, the registration fee, the maintenance estimate, or the cost of gas. It is the total, the full cost of owning a car over the time you own it. Because if you put that number on the windshield next to the monthly payment stops looking reasonable and starts looking like a confession. The average American household spends approximately $12,000 per year on vehicle ownership. That includes the payment, insurance, fuel, maintenance, registration, and the portion of the original purchase price that evaporates the moment you sign the paperwork and drive off the lot. $12,000 per year. Over a 10-year period, that is $120,000. And the median household income in the United States is roughly $80,000 before taxes. Which means the average American family is spending more on their cars over a decade than they earn in a year and a half for an asset that will be worth a fraction of what they paid by the time they finish paying for it. And the industry designed every part of the system to make sure you never do that math at the dealership. Here's how it works, starting with the original sin, the monthly payment. At some point in the last 40 years, the American car buying conversation shifted from, how much does this car cost to, what can you do on a monthly payment? That shift was not accidental. It was a deliberate reframing engineered by dealers and lenders, because the monthly payment hides the total cost, the way a hospital gown hides a price tag. If a salesperson tells you a car costs $52,000, your brain immediately compares that to your savings, your income, and your sense of what things cost. It triggers a real financial evaluation. If a salesperson tells you it is only $749 a month, your brain compares that to your other monthly expenses and asks a much simpler, much more manageable question. Can I cover another $749? Same car, same price, completely different psychological response. And the way you get from $52,000 to $749 a month is by extending the loan. Because a 5-year loan on a $52,000 car at 7% interest costs you around $1,030 per month. That is too visible. That number feels like a car, but stretch that same loan to 7 years and the payment drops to $791. Stretch it to 84 months, 7 years, and with some creative negotiation on the down payment, you get to $749. You have not gotten a better deal. You have gotten a longer sentence. And over the life of that 84-month loan at 7%, you will pay approximately $14,700 in interest alone on a car that will be worth roughly $18,000 to $22,000. By the time you make your last payment, you financed $52,000 for an asset worth $20,000. You paid $14,700 in interest to accomplish this. And for the first 3 to 4 years of that loan, you are underwater. You owe more than the car is worth. If it is stolen, totaled, or you simply cannot make the payments, you are on the hook for the gap between what the insurance pays and what you still owe the lender. The industry has a product for that too. It is called gap insurance. You can buy it to cover the difference between what you owe and what the car is worth. In the event of a total loss, it typically costs $400 to $900 added to the loan, which adds to the balance on which you pay interest, which is a product that exists specifically because the financing structure the industry sold you is so aggressive that you need insurance against the financing itself. And they will offer to sell it to you with a smile in the same breath. They explain the extended warranty. And while you are sitting in that chair doing payment math in your head, the finance manager is doing a different calculation entirely. Because dealers in America make roughly $900 to $1,500 per volt vehicle on the sale of the car itself. That margin has been compressed for decades by price transparency, online research, and manufacturer incentives. The real money, the reason the finance office exists as a separate room with a separate person and a separate conversation, is in what happens after you agree on the car. The finance manager's job is not to process your paperwork. It is to sell you as many add-on products as possible in the 20 to 40 minutes you are sitting across from them. When your guard is down because you already made the big decision, you are tired from 2 hours of negotiation, and every product they offer is presented as a modest addition to a monthly payment you have already mentally accepted. It is one of the most effective sales environments ever engineered, and you walked into it thinking the hard part was over. Let's talk about the extended warranty, because it deserves its own moment. The factory warranty on most new vehicles runs 3 years or 36,000 miles for basic coverage, and 5 years or 60,000 miles on the powertrain. The extended warranty the dealer offers you typically kicks in exactly where the factory warranty ends, covers some but not all of what the factory warranty covered, and costs between $1,500 and $4,000, depending on the term, the vehicle, and how aggressively the finance manager is trying to hit their monthly target. The profit margin on an extended warranty sold at a dealership is typically between 50% and 80%. On a $2,500 warranty, the dealer may be keeping $1,500 to $2,000. The actual actuarial cost of the coverage is a fraction of what you paid, and the vehicle you are buying it for is the same vehicle the manufacturer just told you was reliable enough to warrant a 5-year powertrain guarantee. Here is the historical parallel that no one draws. In the 1950s and 1960s, the American auto industry was the envy of the industrial world. Manufacturers competed on engineering, on reliability, on design. The car was a product, and the financing was relatively straightforward. You bought a car, you paid it off in 2 to 3 years. The car lasted 10 to 15 years. The math, while not generous, was at least honest. Then the 1970s arrived. Then oil shocks. Then Japanese manufacturers who made smaller, cheaper, more reliable cars. And the American auto industry faced an existential challenge. Their response, over the following decades, was not primarily to out-engineer the competition. It was to out-finance them. The loan terms got longer. The dealer financing departments got more sophisticated. The add-on products multiplied. The dealer margin shifted from the vehicle itself to the financing, the add-ons, the service contracts, and the insurance products bundled at closing. By the 2000s, the average dealer made more money per volt vehicle from the financing and add-ons than from the vehicle sale itself. The car was no longer primarily a product. It was a platform for a financial services business. And the customer who thought they were buying transportation was actually the raw material for a loan origination machine. Today, the numbers bear this out completely. The average new vehicle transaction price in America crossed $48,000 in 2023, up from around $37,000 in 2019. That is a 30% price increase in 4 years. The average monthly payment on a new vehicle crossed $735 per month in 2023. The average loan term for a new vehicle is now approximately 70 months, just under 6 years. Roughly 1 in 5 new car loans originated in 2023 had a term of 84 months or longer. 1 in 5 Americans buying a new car is committing to 7 years of payments on an asset that will lose 50% of its value in the first 5 years of ownership. And the average interest rate on those loans in 2023 was approximately 9.5%. Not because these buyers have bad credit. Because the Federal Reserve raised rates, the manufacturer's captive finance arms adjusted their rates upward, and the monthly payment math only worked if you stretched the term long enough to hit a number the customer could agree to in the chair across from the finance manager. At 9.5% over 84 months on a $48,000 vehicle, you will pay approximately $19,000 in interest. Not the price of the car, just the interest. Just the cost of borrowing to buy a thing that will be worth half what you paid before you make your final payment. Here is the uncomfortable truth. The car is the only major asset in most Americans' lives that is almost guaranteed to be worth less every year you own it. Financed through a loan structure designed to minimize your awareness of the total cost. Sold through a distribution channel, specifically trained to move you from price to payment before your rational brain has time to do arithmetic, and loaded with ancillary products at margins that would be considered predatory in almost any other consumer context. And unlike a mortgage, which finances an asset that at least has a historical tendency to appreciate, a car loan finance is pure consumption. It is debt for something that will unconditionally be worth less tomorrow. And yet the average American replaces their vehicle every 6 years before the loan is paid off, rolling the remaining balance into the next loan, a process the industry calls being upside down and rolling over, and which mathematically guarantees that the next loan starts from a worse position than the last one. The industry has a name for the customers who do this repeatedly. They call them loyal customers. Here is where I want to leave you. I am not saying do not buy a car. In most of America, the infrastructure makes it unavoidable. What I am saying is this. The next time someone tells you the monthly payment is affordable, ask them what the total cost is. Ask what the car will be worth when the loan is paid off. Ask why the loan is 84 months and not 48. Ask what the profit margin is on the extended warranty. Ask whether the interest rate is the buy rate from the lender or the marked up rate the dealer is allowed to charge and keep the difference on. Because there's a reason none of those numbers appear on the window sticker. And there is a reason the conversation always comes back to what you can handle. Per month. Comfortable monthly payments are how you build an uncomfortable financial life. And the industry has been in the business of comfortable monthly payments for a very long time. Drop your take in the comments. Is the 84-month car loan a legitimate financial tool for people who need transportation and cannot pay cash? Or is it a design trap that captures the people who can least afford to be captured? Because that question has a real answer. Most people just never get around to asking it.